Bad people, bad playlists, an Atlanta hip-hop lesson, and some congrats are in order. Welcome to the Unlimited Supply Podcast, your daily music business TLDR in your ear, powered by 30 years of Been There, Done That, and brought to you by No Disc, helping music technology and finance companies navigate the music industry, and partnered with Digital Music News. It's August 25th, 2025. I'm Lars Murray. It's Monday, where we talk about what happened over the weekend and what is on deck for this week. Over the weekend, well, ever wonder what famous and powerful people other than former President Obama are listening to? Well, an enterprising hacker named Tim decided to see what he could dig up from public Spotify playlists of the powers that be and to publish them on a website called the Panama Plylists. Where the Panama Papers were about following the money, the Panama Playlists are about following the music, and the results in many cases are just as incriminating. Back in the day, telling people what you were listening to on Spotify or Facebook, or especially MySpace, was a way to show people your true self, or at least your true self as you intended it to be portrayed. Gradually, though, as Spotify has pretty much ignored the social possibilities of music, folks have started to consider playlists more personal and private, which may be why Kashmir Hill and Marc Andreesen, the New York Times correspondents who reported on the Panama Playlists, received a lot of no comments and denials from the folks Tim had reportedly outed, like Attorney General Pam Bondi and VP J.D. Vance, who by the looks of it have some pretty undiscerning musical tastes. TLDR, in general, bad people have bad playlists. There's a link in the website to the Times article, and I'd love to report some pleasant surprises, but I really couldn't uncover any, though Rhode Island Congressman Gabe Amo appears to have some pretty impressive hip-hop knowledge, and millennial internet journalist Taylor Lorenz seems to like dad rock. And if you find EDM soulless and oppressive, and you also find tech billionaire Marc Andreesen soulless and oppressive, well, you've got a match. Anyway, you can do a deep dive on the Panama Playlists over at panamaplaylists.com, and Kashmir Hill and Marc Andreesen also had their playlists hacked, so check out the New York Times article too. If you want to be more like Congressman Gabe Amo and deepen your hip-hop knowledge, you're going to want to check out the new documentary on Magic City, the legendary Atlanta strip club that became a musical mecca, starting with Nelly's 2003 video Tip Drill. I'm not a big strip club guy myself, and I have to admit back in the day when my boss Jermaine Dupri suggested that I needed to visit Magic City, I procrastinated until I got a new job. But in retrospect, I probably should have gone because it was one of the epicenters of Atlanta hip-hop culture and because JD would have covered my expenses. Now I can retroactively get my Atlanta hip-hop lesson from 2005 from the comfort and security of my living room couch. Or I would be able to if it weren't buried on stars. Maybe time to figure out how to get a free trial. Getting off the couch and onto the beach, what better feel-good way to spend the weekend on the beach than catching up with some of the lawsuits flying around the industry. Right now, Soundexchange is involved in a bunch of suits over unpaid royalties, with Napster and Sonos front and center. Those suits are a spider web that I'm having trouble untangling for myself. You'll have to read it for yourself in Dylan Smith's piece at Digital Music News. It's never a good sign when a struggling company isn't paying its royalties on time. And Dylan Smith also put in a good effort to explain the machinations around a potential class action suit against Ticketmaster and Live Nation that would greatly expand legal troubles and expense for the live music Death Star over allegations of monopolistic practices dating back to 2022. And last week, when the White House launched their TikTok account, it was a pretty strong signal that TikTok wasn't going anywhere soon. On Friday, the president pretty much confirmed that, saying essentially that he's going to keep postponing the ban until the sale goes through, and the whole thing is really complex, which actually may be true, but it's the kind of jazz hands that would get your run-of-the-mill middle manager at most companies put on a performance improvement program. To be fair, part one, it is complex as China is in no hurry to sell. And to be fair, part two, we've been waiting for quality audio on Spotify for half a decade or more, so the 7 months of TikTok extensions has a long way to go to be the biggest procrastination in music. All right, let's turn the page to some more positive news. Some congrats are in order to songwriter and fellow podcaster Ross Golan of And the Writer Is for being named chairman of the Songwriters and Composers Division of the Recording Academy. Congrats also to AMRA head Tomas Ericsson for joining his Cobalt colleagues/overlords in getting a direct deal done with Spotify for AMRA's global publishing admin clients. And over at A2IM, congrats to old friend Chirag Patel and to Emily McCourt on their recent promotions, and to Gray Gordon for joining as A2IM's digital and communications manager. Hey Gray, let's communicate. Looking at the week ahead, it's a long push to the end of August. Bertelsmann has its earnings call on Thursday. The BMI Hip Hop Awards are also on Thursday in LA. And if you're in Seattle, it's Bumbershoot weekend. Very nice to see old friend Aurora headlining on Sunday. But that's about it for this week. Time for the Unlimited Supply Pick of the Week. It's a random link to something cool we've run across, something worth sharing that may or may not be current. This week, well, I never miss an opportunity to shill for one of my favorite artists, Margo Price. So I'm turning this week's Picks of the Week over to her Picks of the Week of various stuff she shared with the New York Times. There's a link in the show notes. Support for the Unlimited Supply podcast is provided by RoyFi. If you're a label distributor or publisher and want to take advantage of other people's money and technology to provide advances, paging Tomas Ericsson, let's sit down and talk. RoyFi offers the best rates and terms in the space, and it's mission-driven to give artists the independence they need. And by Hangout.fm. Hangout by Turntable Labs is the new social listening platform where users connect, discover new music, and play over 100 million songs with their friends and family. If you like what you hear, please hit that follow button wherever you get your pods. I live for your praise and encouragement, but it really helps if you share that praise as a rating and or a review on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify, and tell a friend or three. Links are in the show notes, but you can also visit unlimitedsupplypod.com to sign up for our newsletter, to tell us what you think about the show, to suggest feature ideas, to feed us info, to feed us lunch, to call us out on our dubious assertions, and to tell us what we're missing out on. I'm Lars Murray, and remember, in this business, no conflict means no interest.